here's the actual point. His inner circle has a history of leaking excuses to the media when he flames out in big playoff series, and it started all the way back in his first go-round in Cleveland, just before he took his talents to South Beach against the Boston Celtics. They were up 2-1, and chosen one went frozen one in games 4, 5, and 6. They lost all 3, and immediately inner circle leaked that LeBron had to be, and I'm just quoting what all the reporters said, had to be sedated before each of games 4, 5, and 6.
I believe it. And the reason why I believe it is because LeBron has shown that he's very emotionally unstable. And sometimes some of these brothers get upset with me when I talk about the importance of the father. Unfortunately, many modern-day black males have been engineered to believe that the father is not necessary. Why is that? Because they grew up without one. So they're not even quite sure exactly what they're missing. And I cannot accentuate this enough. It's extremely important for the so-called black man to not just, quote-unquote, be involved in his child's life. The number one thing that brothers have to be very aware of is who they're inseminating. Because child rearing starts with who you choose. That's the bottom line of it. I don't care how great of a father you are, how involved you want to be in your child's life. A lot of that's going to be determined in this society by who you choose to have children with. Because the female has power in the court system. And you can see that it has affected LeBron James in his ability to deal with problems on the basketball court. When things start not to go his way, he begins to pout, throw tantrums, lose his composure. And as we saw in the aftermath of what occurred in the regulation of Game 1, he totally gave up on his team. He was inconsolable in an overtime game. In Game 1 of the NBA Finals, the game was just getting started, and he had already given up.
It's because of a locker room issue with the team. Are you kidding me? I called out LeBron for that one, and I'm going to call him out for this excuse again this time.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. You say, okay, that got leaked, and it was his camp that put that information out. Now his camp doesn't put this out. He knows it's going to get out, because here's the thing. If he doesn't come to the press conference, or he doesn't acknowledge that he has an injured hand, what's going to happen is the same thing that happened after that 2010 loss. It's going to get out, and you're going to say, bull jive. So now it gets out. Well,
it got out within a couple of minutes after the game was over.
Actually, the Golden State Warriors and the media knew about LeBron James' injury after Game 1, but they kept it under wraps, no pun intended, because I think that they were trying to protect LeBron from possibly being at the center of, quote-unquote, more scrutiny. Or maybe they did not quite know how much the Golden State Warriors knew, and they didn't want to put the Golden State Warriors onto game in regards to their boo thing, LeBron James having an injury. Either way, the media knew about it already. And I'm not saying that. Stephen A. Smith has already confirmed that the NBA media knew about LeBron James' injury after Game 1, his little bone bruise. And the Golden State Warriors knew as well.
It was leaked.
Because he's trying to get in front of the story.
No, sir. He was trying to take advantage of the story. He's not trying to get in front of it. He's trying to take advantage of it.
Skip, he's not making any
story.
There is no excuse to be made. The Golden State Warriors have the better team.
Well, why did he say that his hand was basically broken when it's not broken, Shannon Sharp? Just say you have a bone bruise.
And even though they have the better team, he averaged 34, 11, and 9, and they still lost. Last year he was 34, 12, and 10, and they still lost. So I don't believe, Skip, even if he doesn't break his hand, or if he doesn't injure his hand, or he doesn't have a bone bruise on the hand, I believe the end results would have been the same. But the fact of the matter...
Oh, they certainly would have been the same, Shannon Sharp. He would have gotten swept regardless. So you have to learn how to deal with that. At the end of the day, if he's the greatest player of all time, he has to have a better showing. He has to lead his team to a better showing in the finals than what he led his team to.
The matter is, it's just like Tom Brady. Tom Brady told you what happened, right?
That's true, but at least Tom Brady went down fighting in the Super Bowl. Did LeBron James go down fighting? No, he did not.
Yeah, he was not ahead of it. He's just declared, because the NFL actually has a strict injury policy under which you must declare your injuries. Now, Bill Belichick just
tried to skirt that system.
He just blows it apart. But
well, the NBA is going to start enforcing a lot of their disclosures on injuries even more now that legalized betting is going to become so much more a part of the league.
But again, if the NBA, this is pretty shameful and scary for the NBA now that gambling is so out there, and so readily available.
In some other states other than Vegas.
Huh?
In some other
That's
states
what I'm
other than
saying.
Vegas.
All of a sudden, we got a big NBA issue here because at least with Iguodala, they kept saying he's doubtful, then he's questionable. With LeBron, if in fact he was hurt, why didn't you declare it? Why didn't you declare it right away?
And even more than that, Skip Bayless, how come none of these reporters revealed LeBron's injury? If everyone knew about it, no one said anything. One would think that they would have put that out there on Front Street if LeBron was struggling with an injury that was hampering him to that degree. At least they would have implied it. No one said anything. That shows you the level of loyalty that the mainstream sports media has to LeBron James, because I guarantee you, if it was a player that they did not favor to such a high degree as they do him, they would have revealed it.
At least questionable for game 2.
In that situation, you do not let someone know, the opposing team know, hand, because now you don't have to tell them which one. You only got 2, so they're going to be slapping. They're going to be hitting. Skip, if you notice, he never dunked the ball and grabbed the rim again. From that point on, from after game 1, everything he did, he laid the ball over in the rim.
Now, wait a second. I recall in game 3 that he passed to himself off the backboard and just slam dunked it, right?
Ding.
Both hands, right hand hard against the rim. If you have a quote-unquote broken hand, do you think you can get away with that?
Yeah, that was adrenaline punch.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's a lot of bullshit pumping in your words too, Shannon Sharp.
Okay, well, why didn't adrenaline pump through games 2, 3, and 4?
Thank you, sir.
I don't know.
Adrenaline pumping.
And by the way, how did he make 22 of 27 free throws in games 2, 3, and 4 with a quote-unquote broken hand? Help me out on that one.
Well, we already know that's a bullshit excuse, Skip Bayless, because we know that he was taking a lot of three-pointers. So his jump shot form was not affected by whatever hand issue he was having. He just decided that he was going to adjust to how Golden State was playing him defensively by either taking threes or trying to take it to the cup. Basically the James Harden style of offensive play. He didn't want to take any more mid-range, maybe because he thought he was going to be contested more, and maybe he believed that they were going to hit his hand or what have you. But his jump shot was not affected by the injury at all.
It's more of a finesse shot?
Yeah.
How did he do that? Pure adrenaline. Okay, well then, why didn't he play some defense in games 2, 3, and 4 on pure adrenaline?
Skip, why are you so well prepared for this debate? You know I'm hurting right now. My man just got swept. Bron got swept. You can't be sensitive?
Do you need your right hand to play defense? I didn't see him play any defense.
Yes, you and I both know, if you watch the game, if you watch the way LeBron played from game 1 going back, and you look at the way he played from game 2 moving forward, he's not the same LeBron. You and I even talked about how he was not finishing over the top. LeBron was always able to finish over the top. Now
Look at this nigga at the press conference, looking like Boy George.
all of a sudden he's finishing 20% lower at the rim than he did in games 1, moving back the other way. Now all of a sudden he can't jump. Skip, there's something wrong.
Did you see games 4, 5, and 6 against the Dallas Mavericks in the 2011 finals? You would say something's wrong. Well, maybe it's psychologically wrong. Maybe the pressure just eats him alive, and he's
a different guy.
There's no doubt that pressure has some form of effect on Mr. LeBron James. And it oftentimes reveals itself physically in the form of cramping.
Different guy there. You know that, I know that.
Well, I don't know.
He's not the same Skip. Even the staunchest LeBron haters will tell you LeBron James is not the same guy in 2011 he is today.
Despite what many of LeBron James's more ardent Stupor fans believe, I'm not a LeBron James hater, and I'll be the first person to tell you that he is a far better offensive player in 2018 than he was in 2011. There's no doubt about that.
There's no questions whatsoever about that. The MVPs, the 3 finals, says he's not the same player. The 2 MVPs says he's not the same player. The 7 straight All-NBAs says he's not the same player.
The 6'8", 255 pounds, and 3/4 of sexual chocolate tell you he's not the same player, Skip. He's just a far bigger man, smarter man, better man. Why don't you get better as a person, Skip? You're 97 years old. You still a piece of shit.
So, Skip, he's not that player. You know that. I know that.
He just has a history of this in big moments, in big series, in big games. So I'm not surprised by it, but I don't want to hear another lame excuse for it.
When emotions are high, logic seems to be very low.
Well, that's why it's incumbent upon a great leader to control his emotions, Shannon Sharp.
His emotions were running rampant, given what had just happened. And so he let it, and as he said, I let my emotions get the best of me.
And you know what? There's no excuse for that in a moment that large. No excuse.
That's what...
Not when you're supposed to be the leader.
That's what...
And the greatest player of all time.
But that's what you have... That's what happened to him, Skip. At that point in time, he wasn't thinking clearly. Because if he had...
I know that for a fact, Skip. Because when Bron called us after game 1, he scoffed us. And he was crying. Yeah, he was crying. And our daughter Zuri, she was crying. She said, Daddy, what's wrong? Why you crying like me? And then I chimed in. I said, Bron, please pull it together so the family can see you strong. I know it's hurt right now. You're hurting. You lost game 1. But please, pick up the pieces. Because, I mean, damn, we got 3 more games of this shit. At least 3 more games. And you got to show out, at least to some degree, better than you did last year. You know, win 1 game without Kyrie. I mean, please. If you get swept, Kyrie going to sit back laughing. Yes, I'm still thinking about that little nigga with the beard. Yes. We cannot embarrass ourselves again. We have to win at least 1 game. So get it together. So, Skip, in the aftermath of that, we got swept. And right now, me and Savannah are thinking about what we're going to do with Bron. Because we just can't have our kids with a leader like that. I mean, the man is just, he gives up. So, I mean, we don't know what to do. Like, do we really want this man to lead the household in the future? So we thinking about that right now as we speak. We still love Bron, but I mean, damn. We thinking maybe we'll move him into a guest wing, a guest house or something. But not in the main quarters, not anymore, no.
He had been thinking clearly. They asked him why he never gets into a tussle or get thrown out of the game. I'm worth more to my team in the game than being tossed out of the game. So at that point in time, it didn't really dawn on him. I'm more important having a healthy right hand than punching this blackboard and not having one. It happens, Skip. He's not the first guy to get frustrated. We've seen guys in baseball, do things and hurt.
All jokes aside, I've already stated that many other great players have punched blackboards and whiteboards and things of that nature. But the difference is that LeBron has to consider that his team was going to need him for the next at least 3 games. And he has to consider that there is a possibility that he could hurt his hand trying to punch through stuff. I know that he thinks that he's the Incredible Hulk, but he's really not. And those of us here in New York, we remember when Amari Stoudemire tried to punch through, I believe it was the fire extinguisher glass and totally jacked up his hand. When you're trying to punch something and you're an NBA player, it never ends well.
Hurt their pitching hand or hurt their pitching shoulder. We've seen that. So LeBron is not unique in this instance.
So, if his hand was pretty much broken, why at the end of Game 4, as they were swept, was there cell phone video captured of LeBron, if we could see that, going through his elaborate handshake and hand slap with his 2 sons near the bench? I mean, wouldn't that just be so painful? He's doing the whole thing. What? Wait, how could you do that?
He touched your fingers.
That was a great catch, Skip. And LeBron James was slapping the back of his hand with his younger son.
Okay, get that video.
And then you need to put a soft cast on for the media? Are you kidding me?
If you don't mind.
Thank you, Skip Bayless.
I'm calling baloney on that.
If you don't mind me asking, when he was exiting the court with a little over 4 minutes, tell me how he touched KD. How did he touch Steph Curry? How did he touch Klay Thompson, Andre Iguodala, Jerry Mind? Did he do it with his right hand or did he do it with his left hand?
I have no idea.
Doesn't matter, Shannon Sharp. As we can see by the footage, he's slapping hands with his sons with his right hand. So no, his hand was not hurt that bad.
I don't really care.
Exactly, of course not.
I saw the elaborate bang, bang, bang with
No, it wasn't.
If you had the equivalent of a broken hand, you'd...
Skip, please stop. That's a family handshake that we do, okay? Don't get personal. Right now, you're taking it too far. Next commercial break, I'm going to beat the shit out you.
You'd be like, ah! And then you have to put on a soft cast.
Whoa!
Janet, wait a second. The season is over. What do you need to put the cast on after the game for? It's done. It's a prop. You know it, and I know it. The prop came off when he drove home.
It was.
No, it did not come off when he came home, Skip. Braun had that cast on when he came in, okay? He had to give it back to Savannah when he came in the house, because that's her scarf, okay? He did not take it off in the car.
Was reported that he was wearing this Saul cast anytime the media wasn't around.
Yeah.
If you notice when he did his interviews, his right hand was always in his lap. It never touched the top of the table. Do you remember that, Skip Bayless? So just go back and look and see at any point in time after the game or during the press conference before the game, did you see his right hand on the table or anywhere? Of course not.
Oh, that cinches it.
No.
Thank you, Skip. Shannon thinks he's some type of lawyer or something. Give me a fucking break.
That closes the case.
Yeah.
Even ESPN had a shot of LeBron's hand hanging down by his side, his right hand versus his right hand before and after, and I couldn't really tell much difference. Like it was swollen.
You might need to get new. You might need to get new LASIK or
LASIK. I guess so. So, what did the?
Give me a break. That could be anything. That could be a light angle or something like that. Like, give me a break.
The greatest player ever in any sport, Michael Jeffrey Jordan, once say about injuries. If you put on the uniform, you're 100%. And what did Michael Jeffrey Jordan do ahead of the pivotal Game 5 in 1997? 2-2 at Utah.
He had the
when
flu.
No, he didn't have the flu. He contracted food poisoning, obviously vomiting, dehydration.
Oh, Lord, Skip. Why is it every time we talking about Braun, you got to bring up Michael Jeffrey Jordan for? That old card playing, golf game losing, liquor drinking, cigar chain smoking ass nigga. Why, Skip? Can we move past that? The man retired 20 years ago. Get over it. Move on.
Hydrated, and he said, I'm putting the uniform on, I'm 100%. Nearly passed out in the first quarter from dehydration. Toughed it out, kept going, brought them from 8 down in the fourth quarter and hit the clinching 3 with 30 seconds left as they stole that game by 2 and went ahead 3-2 in the series, and it was over. Another classic game, because when you put the uniform on, you just figure out how to win the game.
I've always said that. I said anytime you put the uniform
That is
on,
correct.
all they do is see the name on the back.
Yep.
They don't know what it took for you to get to that point. So they expect, if you're a great player, they expect to see greatness anytime you're on the floor, the field, the diamond, the tennis court, the golf course. That's what fans expect to see.
Absolutely. Skip, I tell you a story. My last year with the Broncos, I was just starting to date Savannah and LeBron. We had a big argument. Still, I was hurt. My feelings were hurt, but I played that game that night. I had 7 catches for 87 yards. That's just an example of what you can do when you put bullshit to the side.
But that doesn't mean that he wasn't injured. That doesn't mean he wasn't hurt. Skip, I don't believe. So what? Okay, he doesn't hurt the hand. He averages a triple-double, and he's somewhere around 30 to 40 points a night. All it is delaying the inevitable. Nothing changes. He's not saying that even with the injured hand, he's 28-11-9. 28-11-9 with a bruise or a bone bruise or contusion, however you want to label it.
It's not about what you want to label it. It's about what it was, Shannon Sharp. It's about what it was. It's not about how you want to label it.
Hey, even with the bruised hand, he made 2 of 4 threes in Game 2, and then I don't know what happened after that. I don't know.
Well, Skip, when are we going to talk about LeBron's greatest game? Everybody talk about the flu game. Everybody talk about Isaiah Thomas in the twisted ankle game. What about the Cyclops game? When my man had one eye and scored 51 points. Greatest game in history. Greatest game NBA Finals ever seen. A man with one eye scored 51 points. Talk about that shit.
He wasn't the same. He wasn't the same. If you took 11 mid-range, I mean, think about it. Hey, game 2, 3, and 4 is basically a three-pointer or if I'm trying to get to the basket. And you go back, I want people to go back and look at it and see how many times LeBron is trying to get to that left hand. Even on the right side of the basket, he's trying to lay the ball up with his left hand.
Skip, the man went to the bathroom after the game. He actually had to go into the ladies' bathroom because it was on the left-hand side of the hallway. Nobody knew that except me. I'm revealing that now because that's how much pain my man was in. He couldn't even go in the man's bathroom, Skip.
So you brought up Tom Brady, and again, there is greatness personified, right? Number 12, greatest quarterback ever. So ahead of the AFC Championship game, for however he did it, he suffered a 12-stitch gash in the base of his throwing thumb. That's tough for a quarterback.
No, Skip, you got it right the first time. He was suffering from gas, because I'm suffering from some gas right now. Because right now, what you're saying smell like shit.
Quarterback. So what did he do in the fourth quarter against Jacksonville? Threw for another, 138 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Brought them back miraculously once again to beat Saxonville. Remember that?
Yeah.
So that's you just suck it up and figure out how to do this under those conditions, right?
Okay. So he sucked it up. He played skill. But you do realize they had 2 guys in double figures. LeBron at 34, Kevin Love at 19. And then everybody else was 8, 9. What's he supposed to do with that? Because you do realize in 96, the year they went 72-10, can you tell the people at home how many teammates Michael Jordan had in double figures?
I have no idea.
Besides himself, he had 3. Tony Kukoc, Scottie Pippen, and good old Luke Longley.
Now Shannon Sharpe is comparing Luke Longley to a great player. This is what happens when you get desperate. The Bulls didn't win games because of their scoring. They were a very good scoring team for their day. I believe they may have even led the league in scoring at that time. But that was a defensive error. The Bulls won games with defense. They were able to defeat other great defensive teams like the Miami Heat, the New York Knicks, the Indiana Pacers in playoff games that oftentimes were 77-72 or 81-78. It's about defense. You play great defense when you have a great scheme and when every player is willing to work hard on defense. The Cleveland Cavaliers can only win one way because LeBron James will not play defense. Unfortunately, Shannon Sharpe does not grasp that. And many of the people who debate him or other LeBron James sycophants don't bring that up enough, the defensive end and how much he's fallen off in that area.
Also in 98, the year you're talking about, do you realize?
Look at Joy Taylor. Even Joy Taylor smiling, looking at Skip Bayless like, this nigga is so desperate. You bringing up Luke Longley? Do you guys know who Luke Longley was? Luke Longley was a very high first-round draft pick of the Minnesota Timberwolves in 1991. He was a cast-off who was made into a notable center playing on the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan because Jordan made him a great player, at least a great role player. He was a player who basically averaged anywhere from 9 to 10 points a game. He wasn't a star, but in that system, because of how Phil Jackson coached him up and how Michael Jordan coached him up, he was able to become an effective role player, a great role player, because he had confidence in regards to what his role was and where he was supposed to be on the basketball court. When they would open up the game, Jordan would always hit him with some post feeds. You know, Luke had a nice little reverse pivot move in the lane where he could throw up a little right hand or left hand jump hook. He could make a 12-foot to maybe even 15-foot jump shot. That's what he could do. But he was by far not a great player. Unfortunately, many of LeBron James' stupor fans try to build up basic role players that played on the Bulls to try to detract from Jordan. That second 3P team in particular was filled with cast-offs. Guys like Judd Buechler and Steve Kerr and Luke Longley, Bill Wennington. Even Dennis Rodman was a cast-off. If it was not for the Bulls, he would have had a hard time signing with a team as talented as he was. He had pretty much written a check out of the NBA after how he conducted himself with the San Antonio Spurs. Phil Jackson understood that he could control Dennis a little bit because Phil Jackson is a handler and Dennis Rodman is an asset, but that's a whole other issue for another video.
You realize 3 of the top, all defensive first team Jordan, that's 5 players. Do you know the Bulls had 3 of the first? They had 3 of them. Dennis Rodman, Michael Jordan, and Scottie Pippen.
Yes, that's called playing defense on a team, Shannon Sharpe.
Michael Jordan, at age 34, a year older than LeBron, made first team all defense. And then in the closeout game 6, greatest game he ever played, he had only one other teammate in double figures.
And Skip Bayless keeps saying that Michael Jordan was 34 in his last year with the Bulls. That's not true. He was 35. Michael Jordan was 35 in 1998 when he was first team all defense.
LeBron almost
interesting.
LeBron almost topped Jordan's 92 season, Skip. The only difference is that was year 8 for Michael.
I'll leave it there. Where will?
Well, was he able to match Jordan's defensive efficiency in 1992, Shannon Sharpe? Anyway, it is what it is. This video was for you brothers who requested that I make a response video to how many of LeBron James's more ardent supporters in the liberal sports media reacted to his getting swept. Peace.